Okay, setting proper motivation with 3 points. Refuge fields. Visualize Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas in the space in front of us, as so loving, caring, and embracing. Boddhicitta field, your two kind parents, and all of family members, including children, and all other demonstration beings with you. And the purpose of this practice is to awaken that treasure, hidden treasure of ultimate happiness within you, by removing the mental dirt. And to remove the mental dirt, we should be very realistic and very practical, as taught by the Buddha. Ye dharma hetu prabhava, hetum desham tathagata yavatat. On the basis of the principle of the principle taught by the Buddha, we identify the cause of the miseries, which is the ignorance, and to counteract that, we need to depend on the wisdom. And the wisdom must be motivated by very powerful motivation, which is Boddhicitta. And this Boddhicitta is the most beautiful mind in this universe, which it desires to become Buddha for the benefit of all demonstration beings. And to feel the Boddhicitta, it is determined by compassion, great compassion, and to see what extent you feel compassion towards others is determined by how much you feel the renunciation with respect to yourself. So the desire to practice renunciation, Boddhicitta, wisdom of emptiness, and all three is supported by the shamatha, the single point meditation of shamatha. This is the essence of the Dhamma practice, to give up the greatest purpose of life to oneself. So with this mind, let us turn to page 3. And to with great compassion, you taught the Mercury Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. And to with great compassion, you taught the Mercury Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. And to with great compassion, you taught the Mercury Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. I go for refuge and turn enlightened to the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Sangha. By my accumulations of practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge and turn enlightened to the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Sangha. By my accumulations of practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge and turn enlightened to the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Sangha. By my accumulations of practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Sanje jodo zoge chonam lo chancho bado dane gyabso che tage jinso gebe tsonam ge chola benjire sanje chubarai sho Sanje jodo zoge chonam lo chancho bado dane gyabso che Tage jinso kebe sonam ge chola benjire sanje rubarai sho sanje jodam chonam lo chancho bado dane gyabso che tage jinso kebe sonam ge chola benjire sanje rubarai sho Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham dathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaya swaha Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham dathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaya swaha Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham dathagato hyavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam bhati mahashramanaya swaha. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata, the cessation causes as well as taught by great seer. Okay, let us turn to page 78, three principal aspects of the path. By Lama Tsongkhapa. I bow down to the Venerable. Okay, I don't know whether I explained this before. No explanation. We did not read before in the class. We read, we don't read. We read once, twice. Okay. The idea is that finally, whatever, number one, we need to extract meaning out of one's life, and the greatest meaning that we can extract out of our life is to look for a path which can actually realistically take us to nirvana and Buddhahood, fearlessness and infinite happiness. So that we see that it is a wisdom of emptiness, which the Buddha indicated as the only liberating path, wisdom of emptiness. And this wisdom of emptiness only liberating the path, whereas all the other teachings, practices, they are the ripening paths, which I did mention this earlier. And this wisdom emptiness, to what extent it will actually take you to Buddhahood or not. For example, a very sharp axe, to what extent it cuts the poisonous trees, it depends on your motivation. If the motivation is so weak, the weak, the will-minded, then you will not be able to cut the poisonous trees, maybe small branches. But if you're very strong, if you are a strong-willed person, then you cut so this axe can be used to cut all the poisonous trees of the mental defilements, and then the Buddha energy inside will manifest. So it requires the greatest of the willpower, that is Boddhicitta. And Boddhicitta, as explained before, and to feel this Bodhicitta, may I become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings, it is greatly determined by your compassion. What extent is your compassion for all the other beings? If the compassion is very strong, the Bodhicitta will be likewise very strong. If the compassion is shallow, Bodhicitta will be shallow. So, again, we need to focus on compassion. So, compassion and Bodhicitta will come together as one is set. And then to feel this compassion with others, you should feel the pain of samsara on yourself. If you don't feel the pain, if you don't understand what the pain of samsara is, then the compassion is going to be likewise very shallow. So, to feel the pain over yourself, desiring to get rid of the pain yourself, this is known as renunciation. So if you have these three things, renunciation, bodhicitta, and the wisdom of emptiness, three things, and these three things must be supported by single-pointed meditation. So in our life, you, me, all of us, just see that if we are doing these four things, wisdom, emptiness, bodhicitta, renunciation, and the shamatha practice, single-point meditation, if we have these four things intact within your daily practice, whatever tradition that you're following is fine. Theravada, Mahayana, Chinese, Tibetan, whatever tradition is fine. Within Tibetan, Sakya, Kagyu, Nyingma, Gelu, no difference. As long as you have these four things intact in your practice, all the wise people from from every tradition, they will admire you that this is the true practice. What happens with that, I don't know whether I shared this here, that I have this one gentleman, yes, I did mention this to you, and so 20 years he spent, and finally he said that last 20 years I've been doing this practice, but then no transformation in my mind. I remain the same person what I was 20 years ago. And then where am I going wrong? So I just helped him to focus on these points. Then he practiced for 1 month. He was so happy. He was so happy. And then what happened was one day, he went to a very remote place. And there was a monastery there, and there was one Rinpoche there. Rinpoche from Nyingma tradition was there. And then he coming to know about the Nyingma Rinpoche from the Nyingma tradition. He went there, and he requested for teachings. And he introduced himself. He shared with that Rinpoche what he was doing, what kind of practice he was doing. And Rinpoche was listening to him, and then he requested for more teachings. And Rinpoche said that, no, what you're doing is just amazing. If somebody can do this much, this is somebody who deserves respect from everybody else. What you do is just complete. Don't look for anything else extra. He mentioned this to me, and then I thought that, okay, he's lucky that he met with one Rinpoche who really knows the Dharma well. So this is something which we need to keep in mind. So here, the 3 principles for the path here in this text, we see that all the 3 points, renunciation, Boddhicitta, wisdom, interest, they are taught separately, and each of these 3 points are taught under 3 subheadings. What are they? Okay, if you don't, I don't know whether I shared this with you. Say okay, Ilengo, if you have no idea about renunciation, but you just would know the word renunciation in a very simple English, and I ask you, Ilengo, you have to practice renunciation. What would be your question to me?
I would ask, renunciation means, do I need to leave my house and go to the home?
Okay, so let's say the Ilengo is respected by everybody for being very successful in not leaving the house, right? And then you say, practice renunciation. What will you say?
How do I practice renunciation?
Okay, there is, the Ilengo is extremely, loyal, right? Better ask Chelsea. So Ilengo said, okay, sir, how should I practice it, right? Chelsea.
Thank you, Geshe. I would ask, why should I practice?
Yes, right. First said thank you, and followed why. Right? So first why, then thank you should come. But thank you first. And the thing is that why? This is the first thing. Why should I practice renunciation? Always don't follow blindly. The first question is why? Why should I practice it? Once a person explains to you why what should be practiced, what is the benefit? Once you know the benefit and the rationality that it has to be practiced, without which that you miss a very important point of life. Then the next question is, you're convinced now. Next question is then, Ilengo said, how should I practice? Number 2, how? First is why. Number 2 is how. Then somebody explains to you how to practice well. You practice it, and then you wonder, what? How will I know that I accomplished this practice? In other words, number 3 is the measure of having generated renunciation. First, why to cultivate renunciation? How to cultivate renunciation? What is the measure of having generated or cultivated renunciation? 3 points, 3 subheadings. Likewise for Boddhicitta, why to practice Boddhicitta? How to practice Boddhicitta? And what is the measure of having generated Boddhicitta? Likewise, wisdom of emptiness. So each one of this is so succinctly done. So this is so precious, so precious. So they say first, when I was in my first year, second year, I was reading this. Still remember, it so reverberates. It rings in my mind, in my ears, even today. His Holiness, just I was in my 20s, 21, 22, and His Holiness doing a public teaching. He gave a teaching on this, and then he advised the people, the public, to, if possible, try to recite this and practice on a daily basis. It still reverberates so well to my ears. And so I was blindly doing that as his own advice. So I was doing it every day, reciting this. And then gradually completing the 5 years completed, 7 years completed of the Buddhist philosophy, psychology, 10 years completed. Then all the sophisticated texts already studied. Then again, going back, this text just captures your mind. This text, again, it mesmerizes you. This text mesmerizes you because this is so succinct. And all what you've done, all these many years of studies, contemplation, and so forth, you read this again here. There's a crystal clear exposition there, which our mind cannot really do it. And that is done by Lama Tsongkhapa. So, we'll read this slowly. And meanwhile, see if we can contemplate the meanings as well. I bow down to the Venerable Lamas. As well as I'm able, I'll explain the essence of all the teachings of the Buddha, the path praised by the conqueror's children, entrance for those who desire liberation. Listen with a clear mind, you fortunate ones, who are not attached to the joys of cyclic existence. Strive to make good use of leisure and opportunity, and direct your minds to the path that places the Buddhas. Without pure renunciation, an end to attraction for the pleasure of cyclic existence is unattainable. The craving for existence also binds beings, thus from the outset seek renunciation. Reverse the attraction to this life by reflecting on how leisure and opportunity are difficult to find, and how life is ephemeral and without span. Reverse the attraction to future lives by repeatedly thinking of the infallibility of karmas and its effects and the miseries of samsara. Contemplating thus, when for an instant you do not admire the splendors of cyclic existence and remain intent on liberation by day and night, renunciation is born in you then. Renunciation, if not tempered by a pure mind of Boddhicitta, however, will not bring forth the perfect bliss of unsurpassed enlightenment. Therefore, the wise one generates the excellent mind of Boddhicitta, swept up in the current of the four powerful rivers, tied up by strong bonds of karma, so on to a Hindu. Caught in that iron net of self-grasping, completely enveloped by the darkness of ignorance, born and reborn in boundless cyclic existence, ceaselessly tormented by the three miseries, thinking of your mothers in this condition, generate the supreme mind of Boddhicitta. Although you train in renunciation and the mind of Boddhicitta, without wisdom that realizes the ultimate reality, you cannot cut the root of cyclic existence. Therefore, strive to understand dependent arising. One who sees the infallible cause and effect of all phenomena in samsara and nirvana, and destroys all focuses of apprehension, has entered the path which pleases the Buddhas. Appearances are infallible dependent arising. Emptiness is the understanding that is free of assertions. As long as these two are seen as distinct, you have not yet realized the intent of the Buddhas. When these two realizations are concurrent, where the mere sight of infallible dependent origination concurrently destroys all modes of grasping through definite discernment, at that time the analysis of the profound is perfected. Furthermore, appearances refute the extreme of existence, and emptiness refutes the extreme of non-existence. When you understand that emptiness arises in the form of cause and effect, you are not captivated by the view of extremes. O my child, once you have thus realized the points of the three principal paths, seek solitude and cultivate strong determination, and quickly reach the final aspired goal. Okay. Before we begin with this, continue with this teaching, I'd like to request Professor Roger Jackson. So basically, okay, Mike. Professor Roger. In fact, as I did mention to all of you, that the book which Professor Roger translated, the commentary by Gyaltsen Rinpoche on Acharya Dharmakirti's text, chapter 2, Pramana Vartika chapter 2, Professor Roger painstakingly translated, and it already came out in the form of book. At the moment, the book is out of stock, not available, but he's so kind. I remember that when he wrote to me several years ago about this book, and he so kindly offered and that it can be used. people who are interested. I was so touched by this gesture of warmth. And this is a very different culture of compassion that he inherited. So I'd like to invite Professor Roger to extend your invitation to all others.
Thank you.
Yes, it's working.
Working? Okay.
Yes,
I can't hear myself speaking.
louder.
Louder? Thank you, Geshe-la, and thank you for your kind and lucid teachings this week. It's both stimulated my brain and moved my heart. As Geshe-la mentioned, this is better? Is that better?
That's
yeah,
better,
I thought so. Okay. Anyway, yes, as Geshe-la mentioned, this book that I published actually some 40, 80, 90, 30 years ago now, called Is Enlightenment Possible, went out of print quite some time ago. And it's a book with many flaws. It should not be regarded as a perfect rendition of Gyaltsabje's commentary on Dharmakirti or of Dharmakirti's original verses, but it is a book that I guess over the years people have found useful in trying to get a handle on what is a very, very difficult text, but a very, very important set of Buddhist arguments. And not so long ago, I was able to get, I actually had communication with the original publisher about maybe trying to bring it out again and making a few corrections, but that just didn't work out. But they gave me full permission they reverted the copyright to me and basically said, you can do with it what you want. So I had, what I had done not so long ago, I think even since Geshe-la and I were first in communication about this quite some years ago, was to get it photocopied and basically put on 4 PDF files. So basically all I'm really saying is that I'm happy to share this with anyone who wants it, and all you have to do is email me and ask. My email is rjarleton@carleton.edu. Don't ask for this in the next week or 10 days because I won't have access to it, but I'm happy, anybody who would like to have a copy, I'm happy to share it. And so.
Thank you, Professor Roger. And in fact, I may request, Dr. Pujala there to give this email to anybody who is interested, email of Professor Roger, and the letter should go directly to Professor Roger, and Professor Roger will send you the PDF copy of that for your use. Yeah, and of course this is so kind of Professor Roger to give access, the free access to all of us, and there's always the public, copyright issues and so forth. So therefore, each one of us, we can write separate request for that. And okay, this is one thing, and then so perhaps I may as well just informally may say that if the publishers, for them it's okay that Tibet House can buy the copyright of that, or ask for the permission, not buy, permission, that we can pay. Tibet House can pay the publisher, and then the Tibet House can print here in India. If there's a possibility, Professor Roger, if you can talk to the publisher, and that would be wonderful. Because Yes, we'll talk about it. Yes, Wonderful, wonderful. So because that the Tibet House, the reader is a huge, there's a huge reader of this. Usually with these technical books like Illuminating the Intent is a huge book, very costly. Why it become costly? Because there's no mass production, which we said yesterday, no mass production because people who are studying this are so less in number, so less. So therefore, the publishers, naturally the cost becomes very high. Whereas if the same book, even the Tibet House readers, they're like the almost like 2,000 people reading the same text. So that way they can publish, easily they can publish or they print like 2,000 copies or 3,000 copies very easily. And usually these books, they don't really sell too much because these are technical texts. People who read this is so less in number. So therefore the publishers, they suffer. So the point is that because Tibet House, there's a huge readership there, and it would be good if we can discuss on this later. Okay, and I think that there are question answers. So the plan for today and tomorrow morning, the people who are going to stay, the Mahabodhi temple, and then accumulation, circumambulation, accumulation merit, whatever to do, that is to be done on your own from tomorrow. Today the plan is the 3 classes will be as normal. 3 classes as normal. And the third one from 3 to 4:30. The third, in case if we don't finish the method 1, what's the first method? Method and Boddhicitta, the first one. 7-fold cause and effect method and Boddhicitta. If you don't finish this, then the third session will continue with this. If we finish in time, we will do these question answers. So I have several questions that you left on my table. We're going to do these question answers. And then also if you have not necessarily written, if you want to ask questions directly, after written questions, I will be happy to entertain your questions. Then the 3 to 4:30, then 4:30 to 5, short tea break, no group discussion, short tea break, 4:30 to 5, and 5 will again come back for the Sok offering. Sok means accumulation of merit, or Sok means accumulation. And accumulation is of 2 kinds, accumulation of merit and accumulation of wisdom. So we require these 2 things go in balance. Accumulation of merit, accumulation of wisdom, go in balance. And thus far, no doubt, accumulation of merit happened on a large scale. All the last 9 days, they're almost for the accumulation, primarily for the accumulation of wisdom. So now accumulation of merit, say today from 5 to 6, 1 hour, we quickly do the Sok offering of the things like the blessed items, edibles, and so forth, which Geshe from Rudi Institute will organize that. And from the group here, the Russian group, then the Indian group, and then the foreigners group. So 3 groups. We have 1 representative each, and to learn what is Sok offering. So you will see, and somebody will teach you, perhaps the Venerable Dejanla, or maybe if Venerable Children knows all the procedure, then one of you two can help, give instructions to them, to these 3 people, what to do and so forth. This one thing. And then so that will take maximum 1 hour. So usually Sok offering, we can do it for like 2 hours, 3 hours, but then we'll do it very short, since that this morning we already did the morning practice in great detail. So therefore your mind is already there. That becomes a part of the Sok offering. Actually combined together, morning is like 2 hours, plus Sokol for 1 hour is becomes like 3 hours. So we're not going to spend the extra time for this, and because that the evening again. Oh, there's the yes. So this is very important, and there's something else is also happening. Something else is happening that will be there's also planned after immediate after this the 4:30 class, 3 to 4:30 class. But then the soul offering is very important. I'll be able to do it from 5 to 6, and then the other things which some of you who are involved with this, you know what it is, and no need to mention what it is. So we'll do it at 6:30 in the evenings. Okay, and that's it. So with this mind, the next, the first method of not yet completed. Second method not completed. What we're doing? Oh yes, that's amazing. Okay, so we're left with out of the 9 steps for the which method? Out of 9 steps for which method? Natalie. Which method is the step method?
Altruism, the method of altruism. Sorry, I'm,
This is a
I'm now
step.
confused.
The method with 2 methods.
The method of sevenfold cause and effect,
And
and the method of equalizing and exchanging self for others.
perfect. Which was the one that we were doing?
We were
Which of the 2 were we doing yesterday?
the method
Perfect,
of equalizing and
perfect, perfect.
exchanging self for others, and the
Yes,
step
the method of
altruism. Yes, sorry.
yes, method of equalizing exchanges for others, and from there, we completed the first 6 steps or 7 steps.
We completed the 7 steps. My understanding.
Oh yes, 7 steps done. 7 steps we spent a lot of time. What's the 7th step, Rishi? You remember? Wonderful. Special recollection of kindness of others. This is again another key. What we said is that step 2 and 3, these 2 are so important. If you succeed in the step 2 and 3, then say the overall speaking, your Boddhicitta practice will become successful. And then on top of that, if you can add step 7, step 4 and 5, these 2 are to reinforce. In other words, the theory class, then you put into practice, the practical class. In your school, you remember? In your school, you do the theory class in science, and after that you go to the laboratory lab to do the practical class. You remember that? Yes? Rishi? You that? What are the 2 things that we do? Very good. Theory and they say and practice or the practical. The 2. Likewise, step number 4 and 5, these are primarily the practical side, meaning that you take the suffering of others, you give your happiness to others. This is what we did. Then the step 6 is to reinforce whatever you have done from step 1 through to step 5. Then step 7 is again another booster. Step 7 is another booster to reinforce your compassion towards all the beings. Okay. Then step 8. What's the step 8? Altruism. Okay, this is very important. Now look. So thus far, still step 7, your compassion flows to all the beings. You agree? Towards the near and dear ones, neutral beings, and the difficult people alike. Your mind flows towards all the beings. And in fact, if you succeed in this practice, you see that your mind flows even more strongly towards the difficult people. Your mind feels more close to the difficult people. Because difficult people, they provide you the greatest of the benefit. What benefit you get from the difficult people, Armin?
You get to see your flaws.
Huh?
You get to see your flaws.
Okay. In a way, yes, you're right. Yes. Yes, okay. Say, in what way the difficult people are seen as most beneficial? Anyone?
They show the disease, the mental disease.
It's not wrong. It's not wrong. Anyone else would like to? Maybe maybe. Okay, Rishi.
They're your coach to kind of toughen you up.
Okay, let's see. What's that? Nastia. In what way, my question to Nastia is, in what way you get the maximum benefit from the difficult people?
Сложные существа могут указывать нам на наши недостатки. То есть, когда они ведут себя, когда они провоцируют нас на испытывание каких-то негативных эмоций, мы в порыве испытываем их и осознаем, что наша практика еще недостаточно продвинулась. И значит, нам нужно еще продолжать упражняться и развивать бодхичитту. Таким образом, они являются для нас хорошими учителями.
Venerable Geshe, difficult people can show us our flaws. When difficult people provoke us to experience negative emotions, and we do experience negative emotions as a result, we understand our current state. We understand that we need to practice compassion and bodhicitta more, and in this way, difficult people are our teachers.
Very good, thank you. So what Nastia, what Armin, what Rishi said, there are more young people, they're in one camp. What they said is more same. Anyone else? What they said is correct. Anyone else? Okay, lotusly. Louder. Okay, they help us identify our subtle selves and attitude. Very good, it's much more in the same camp. Anyone else? They give you what benefit? Yes. Ilango?
Difficult people give us large scale ultimate benefit. Large scale ultimate benefit.
Good. 99.9% correct. Anyone else? Okay. Anyone else raise hands? Anyone else raise hands? Raise hands, raise hands. Yeshila. Yeshila. Huh? Long-term ultimate benefit, 10-10. Long-term ultimate benefit. Last skill, lingo. You're getting it? Okay. Okay. So long-term ultimate benefit, right? So this is the greatest of the benefit. Therefore, your mind will go most strongly towards the difficult people. So now you love everybody. You love your near and dear ones. You love neutral beings. You love your near, the difficult people. You love everybody. So for you, there's no enemy now. There's no enemy. So with this, now this is step number 6. No, 7. Then step number 7 and step number 8, in between. There's an implicit step. Implicit, not explicit. Implicitly, there's one step there. So now that you love all the beings so intensely, So, but this, say, what is your attitude? Like you say, what is the attitude of the mother? When the mother sees the child, mother loves the child so much. When the child is sick, what will happen to the mother's mind? Mother's mind will generate very strong mind, wishing that the child is freed of suffering. Yes, that is known as compassion. Because the love. Whereas if you don't love the person A and the person A is sick, you're so happy that you are sick. Right? You know the person is sick, and because there's no love, you feel happy that you're sick. And you wish that the person is more sick. Whereas if you love the person, then the attitude is going to be very different. May you be freed from suffering and the cause of suffering. That is the compassion. And then when you see that the other side, other person you love so much is deprived of happiness, you wish that may you have happiness and the cause of happiness. This is loving kindness. In other words, in between these two, special recollection, the kindness of others, that is step number 7. And then the step number 8, altruism in between, that is the implicit step, which is compassion and loving kindness. Compassion, loving kindness, these two are the implicit step between step 7 and 8. Okay, so here, with the step 8, you succeeded in generating very strong love for all the beings. With this love, then when you see the other person to whom you love, with or in pain, then it manifests in form of, your love manifests in form of, when you see the other person in pain, your love manifests in form of compassion. Very good. When you see the other person deprived of happiness, then your love will manifest in form of loving kindness. You getting it? So these two are the implicit steps in between step 7 and step 8. So now look, from this intense love, you have already moved to the state of compassion and loving kindness. Universal compassion. Not just compassion, but universal compassion, because you have compassion with all the beings. Universal loving kindness for all the beings. So with this next step is, okay, now who's going to do this? May you be freed from suffering and others. But who's going to do this? You getting it? This next question. So usually we say, oh, there's a problem. It's the job of the government, right? We say like this, oh, he has a very good father, rich father, he should do it. Okay, which means you are shirking your responsibility. You are shirking your responsibility. Although you feel, you empathize with the other person, but you are not keen to take the responsibility. So next is, who will take the responsibility? Then you say that I will take the responsibility. I will take the responsibility that all beings are free from suffering and the beings are endowed with happiness. I will take the responsibility. That is altruism. That is altruism. So we need to see the steps and how the first step leads, how the earlier steps leads to the later steps. Who's going to take the responsibility? I will take the responsibility. This is the point. For example, let's say that, these are very important. Let's say that in your house you are cooking, how many like pasta? Yes. All right. Oh, it seems like pasta is more popular than cheesecake. Okay, say you cook pasta. You cook pasta, boiling pasta, hot water, and then the pasta already the cooked. Now you drain the water, hot water, directly into the sink. You drain the water, yes? Or you drink the water, or you drain the water? Drain the water. Drain the sink, and just think of that. This hot water will kill millions and billions of the poor worms, animals, insects in the drains. Think of that. This is compassion. This is mindfulness. And you say that I will take the responsibility of benefit for all the beings, and you are killing. Without mindfulness, you are killing. Just for your pastor, you are killing millions of beings. So, this is mindfulness, the real mindfulness. Oh no, I should be mindful now. Okay, if I do this, so many animals will be killed with this. So many creatures will be killed. No. So what do? You drain it in another container and keep it there. Let the water cool down. Or, if you don't have any container, then let the cold water mix with the cold water, and then let it become warm water, and then drain it. So, these are the mindfulness. Otherwise, if we talk about the mindfulness practice, walking meditation, or I'm lifting my right foot up, now putting down, left foot up. This is just a pure practice of the mindfulness without the contents. It's a container. You're preparing very beautiful containers like this, very beautiful mug. Without the content is empty. Whereas the real mindfulness is when you actually meet with a situation where your mind can easily slip into negativities, harming others. There you should be mindful. Catch your mind and say that don't do it. You're getting it? Don't do it, don't harm others. Help benefit others. So this is what is required. That is the real meaning of mindfulness. 1. Number 2, that which step we are doing now? What is the 8? Altruism. What is altruism? Hey, Yulia, what is altruism? Yes, Yulia. What is altruism? Here. Yulia, there are 2 Yulias. Here.
Альтруизм — это намерение, чтобы все живые существа были счастливы и перестали страдать.
Geshe, altruism, it's our intention for the beings to be free from suffering and the causes of suffering.
Very good. Our intention to take the responsibility. That's very important. Take the responsibility on your own shoulder. That is altruism. So, say here in Bodhicitta retreat, you say, okay, I learned about altruism. It's so beautiful, right? So beautiful. Then then you are on the, okay, so you are having tea during the break, tea, food, whatever, and then you have to wash your plate. Washing the plate, you see that, okay, listen. This actually happens. Washing the plate, you see that there are so many insects, ants in the sink. And then you remove one, and one by one, the bell already rang. Ding, ding, right, for the class. Oh, there are so many ants there in the sink, and I have to wash this very quickly. And I'm sorry. Then all the ants die. But why? I'm very sorry. Why? Because I have to attend Boddhicitta retreat. I have to attend altruism. I missed the class on altruism, right? So I just heard about altruism. I'm very sorry, right? I'm so sorry. I'm very sorry. I have to attend Bodhicitta class, and that too, particularly on altruism. I'll take the responsibility, right? No, you are taking the responsibility to kill them. Okay, this is Bodhicitta in action. You're getting it? To protect the life of others. To protect the life of others. This is so precious. So somebody is sad. Somebody is demoralized, feeling so sad, lost. Sit there, listen to the person, give comfort to the person, let the person feel okay, uplifted. This is so precious. If the Buddha is next to you, he'll be so happy to see that this is what you're doing. This is real Bodhicitta in action. Let's not forget it. So, altruism, to take the responsibility. When you take the responsibility to help, it requires courage. It requires courage. And in a way, common people will say it requires the same sacrifice. But for a Bodhisattva, this is not a sacrifice. Bodhisattva, this is a wise approach for you to go through you to go for the breakthrough or cut through to attain full enlightenment. Because if you don't break this, if you don't have a breakthrough of this, if you cannot get through this, cut through this, you will never attain full enlightenment. Infinite happiness will not happen. For the ordinary people, they don't understand this. They see this big sacrifice. It's not sacrifice, it's a smart move. Smart move to cut through and then get to full awakening. Courage. Courage, and the ordinary people would call as sacrifice. Then number 3, no expectation in return. This extremely great quality of a bodhisattva. No expectation in return. So usually, what happens is that when you do something good to somebody else, so implicitly, but some people, they are very direct. Says that, okay, I will do this, what will you do for me? Very direct, expectation is there. I do this for you, you tell me what will I get from this? They say this. And some companies will come to you, you're amazing, right? You're amazing, we'll support your project, right? And our logo will go in your backdrop. You're getting advertisement. You're getting an expectation return. Whereas the Bodhisattva's deeds should be without expectation return. This is so important. In this connection, what examples? Let me give you 2 examples. Real examples. Very inspiring. There's one gentleman, a friend of mine, and whose family was from extremely humble background. Extremely humble. And his father had a huge joint family. His wife, his children, and then his brothers, their wife, children, and their sister. Huge joint family. And that's many years ago. And if the father would get one mango for the people like 16, 20 family members, one mango. And this father is so compassionate. What he would do is that no knife with a blade, but cut this mango into 20 pieces, whatever. And he gives small piece to everyone. This is the father. And his son, he was able to get a government job, a simple government job, but education is very low standard, but he got a government job. And he rose in the position, he got promotion. And finally he became like a governor of a small, like a Telsidar. He became like the governor of a small community. In that community, he's like a king. And what happens was that because of the mindset developed with his father and his father's generation, so poor living condition, and because that this boy who got the government service and they get little extra money, and he's able to distribute to the family members and his uncle, father's brother. So because of that austere experience as the childhood, so when he became older, and he was using a very simple bike, where he has to put the petrol, and he would buy petrol for 2 rupees. 2 rupees. Say like this, just small amount of petrol for 2 rupees. Because for him to spend a lot of money on this gas or the petrol is something he cannot imagine, because he experienced severe poverty. So just 2 rupees. And what? He can drive maybe like very light vehicle, maybe 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers, finish. And then his nephew came to know about his nephew, who was now like the governor of the locality. He came to know about this. Now, what was I trying to share with you? Benefit others without expectation in return. This is what I'm sharing with you. So this nephew, he knows that his uncle, even if the nephew has enough money, he would give it to the uncle, and he would ask the uncle to buy 1 liter. Okay, by the way, tell me, in a bike, how many liters can go in? Liters of petrol can go in. Anyone? Huh? Like what? From range? 5 liters? Okay, let's say 5 liters. The nephew can easily put 5 liters. If you do that, his uncle will refuse, decline. So what he did is that he went to the petrol pump, met with the petrol pump owner, and petrol pump owner feels honored that our boss is coming to meet us. And he would give the instruction to the petrol pump owner that one gentleman comes to buy petrol for 2 rupees every day. And he said, yes, there's one gentleman, right? And he said, he is my uncle. And whenever he comes, he gives you 2 rupees, accept it. Don't ask for more money. Accept the 2 rupees and fill the tank, complete. Fill the tank fully. 5 liters, 6 liters, whatever, fill the tank. And then keep a separate register where, okay, on this date, I gave him 5 liters. This is cost, let's say, 200 rupees, 300 rupees. And keep a register. And then at the end of the month, I will come to reimburse the money to you. So his uncle going there, from the next day, uncle going there, and he gave 2 rupees, the same amount he gave, and he get a huge lot of petrol, full tank petrol, and he was confused. And it lasts for whole 1 week. Usually it's just 1 day. Now it's last one. What happened? Maybe blessing of the God. He did not know that it is actually his nephew who is doing this. And nephew was keeping confidential. He was not expecting any thank you from his uncle. You're getting it? And deliberately keeping a low profile so the uncle may not feel offended, uncle may not feel uneasy, and uncle may be thinking that it's a blessing. Or the petrol owner is so kind. He's giving me 5 liters just for 2 rupees. So, what I'm saying that this is the doing virtues without expectation return, number 1. Then another situation, I was amazed. So there's one teacher, and that teacher, was visiting one place, and in that place, that teacher wanted to just spend time. Just spending time is just waste. So the teacher wanted to meet with other people, give some teaching or whatever discourse. And the secretary of the teacher contacted that locality. There's one person there, and that person I know personally. That person just amazingly compassionate, at the same time very high level thinking. Compassion, there are so many levels, high level thinking. And the secretary of the attendant of the teacher just gave a clue. Cannot say that, please organize something for my teacher. He cannot say that. So he just gave a clue that my teacher is coming and your school is open and so forth. So the person, the incident understood what the attendant was saying. So the person said, actually, oh yeah, don't worry, I'll organize it. You're getting it? I'll organize it, don't worry, I'll organize it. And then it gives you the feeling that I did something for you. Whereas this person, very high level thinking, what the person did was that, very smart, already sense what the attendant was saying. So the person told the attendant, oh, can we request a teaching? Actually, this was what the attendant was, they're asking the the person to do in an indirect way. And the person sensed what the attendant was saying. So instead of that, instead of making the impression that that person is doing something favor to the attendant, the person was presenting a soul light is in such a way that the attendant was doing favor to the person. He said, "What honor for us! Can we request the teacher to give a teaching here?" Then the attendant said, yes. Please, don't tell anybody else. We reserve this time slot for us." When I heard it, I was amazed. This is compassion, high-level compassion, where forget about you taking the credit. You're giving credit to the other person. Letting the other person not feel uneasy. Letting the other person feel so comfortable. There's a very high-level compassion. It's amazing. So, the point is that the courage is one of the attributes of the Bodhisattva's conduct. Number 2 is no expectation return. Instead of expectation, you give the credit to the others in a very implicit way. Without the knowledge of the other person, you give the credit to the other person. That's amazing. Right? So the Indian culture, that's amazing. It's amazing. For example, you say that, "Oh, you look so healthy." They will say that it's your blessing. It's beautiful. It's amazing. It's amazing culture. It's your blessing. It's your prayers that worked on me. Right? Not saying that, "Oh, you look healthy. Thank you." Right? "Yes, I do gym." No, you don't take the credit yourself. You say that, "Oh, it's your blessing. Thank you, it's your blessing." Look, this amazing culture. Amazing. Very sophisticated culture. Indian culture. This is everywhere. Jainism, Hinduism, Buddhism, even ordinary the Indians. This is a beautiful, high-level culture. Okay, so that is altruism. What's altruism? I will take the responsibility that all beings are free from suffering and be endowed with happiness. The next question is, when you say, "I will take the responsibility," what will you ask? How? This question. You're getting it? How? Okay. So I remember that when I was in IBD Institute of Buddhist Dialectics in Dharamsala as a student, and there's one junior monk, maybe 3-4 years junior to me. That monk, he has a brother, and the brother is not a monk. Brother was in Tibet medical at the medical institute, where he was being trained as a Tibet medical doctor. Elder brother, and the monk is younger brother. And the elder brother, his love to his younger brother is amazing, because younger brother is not so competent. Elder brother very competent, so loving. And the elder brother, every Sunday, both the students, every Sunday, elder brother would make sure that he would come to visit the younger brother, and he would get into younger brother's room in IBD, make sure that everything is clean, tidy, spick, span, he's okay. That's amazing, the love of elder brother. So one day, elder brother told me about this. And the elder brother, so one day he went to visit the younger brother, and younger brother was not there, and he got into the younger brother's room. And the room was messy, is in mess. Room was total mess. And the elder brother was very angry, right? Very angry, because he takes the responsibility. So he said that this boy, meaning his younger brother, this boy, every day he says prayer, "May I become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings." Forget about becoming Buddhahood. He cannot even take care of himself. He can't even take care of himself. Look at this, how messy. Everything is mess. You can get. So when you, "May I become Buddha," I will take the responsibility. Wait, what? Take the responsibility of others. Forget about that. You even don't know how to take care of yourself. So therefore, taking the responsibility for others, you have to know how to take care of yourself. This is so important. So the next says, how? Yes, true. I don't know even how to take care of myself. Forget about taking care of all the sentient beings. Then what you do is that you flip through the history of the humanity. You flip through the books, history of the humanity, and you found that there was a young prince by the name. There was a young prince by the name Prince Siddhartha Gautama. Prince Siddhartha Gautama. And what did he do? Oh, he said, I'll become Buddha for the benefit of sentient beings. And then he practiced. He searched for the path. And finally, he became enlightened. He succeeded in doing that. Okay, if he succeeded, I will also follow his footsteps. How? That he became, after making the commitment, I'll take the responsibility to help all other beings. Then he actually went to see how to take the responsibility. So finally, he attained 3 perfect qualities by which to benefit all the beings: perfect love, perfect knowledge, and perfect power. Perfect love, perfect knowledge, and perfect power. He attained these 3 perfections, which allowed him to become somebody who can benefit all the sentient beings instantly. Perfect love, perfect power, and a perfect knowledge. So wow, look, why these 3 things are very important? Why not more? Why less? If you have these 3 things, you have everything. How? Finally, let's say that the Buddha performed numerous miracles. Buddha performed numerous miracles, flew in the sky and performed numerous miracles, and also gave numerous teachings. Arya Nagarjuna never praised the Buddha for having performed miracles. Let me repeat it. Okay, if I ask you, right, today, if, let's say, if Rishi comes here in front of us, and he just stays in the air 3 feet high, up in the air for 2 minutes. The whole Bihar will be traffic jam, right? CNN, then BBC, what is it? Indian, Hashtag, then NDTV, yes, NDTV, all will come, and all the local people will come jam-packed, right? Tushita, right, will be under the government, they take care, all the police, right? And the Rishi, nobody will get audience with Rishi. You getting it? And then let's say that, okay, and most likely from this also, many people will go to see Rishi again. You're getting it? So, tell me honestly. So, at the end of the day, you have to go back. When you go back, what is the takeaway? What will you take away with you? You will say, wow. You're getting, wow, and then you leave. And this wow will not feed your belly. This wow will not feed your brain. This wow is nothing. And then finish. Whereas Buddha performed this miracle. Buddha actually flew. Very interesting stories over the year. Buddha performed so many miracles. For example, you have to know these things. For example, there was the Buddha's disciple, and whose daughter got married to a non-Buddhist family in some other place. And the daughter always missed the Buddha and the Buddha's entourage, the girl. And because that the girl got married to another family who did not have any affinity to the Buddha's teachings from another teacher. So the girl always felt so lost, down. And one day, the family members, her own in-laws, they found that she feels so unhappy. So they asked, what's the problem? You tell us what we can do. And she said, I have one thing, I have one wish. And they said, we'll happily do that. And my wish is to invite the Buddha on his entourage and offer food. And they said, yes, that's easy. You should have told us before. We'll do it right away. And then she said that, you do right away. I'll invite the Buddha. And the Buddha, the place where the Buddha was, minimum you have to walk 3 days. 3 days, 3 nights. And she said, I'll invite Buddha right now. And they said, no, where's the Buddha? This place, you're crazy. It'll take 3 days to reach here. She said, no, your job is to prepare the food for the Buddha and the entourage, like 500 monks. You organize the food right now. And the moment the food is ready, let me know. Then I'll invite the Buddha right now. And then how is this girl going to do? We did not inform the Buddha. And it takes 3 days. So they trusted the girl. They prepared food. Once the food was done, then they asked him, hey, now your job, invite the Buddha. And they do not believe that she could do that. Then she burned incense. She burned incense and went to the rooftop and said a prayer, Buddha, please come to my place. We're offering you lunch for you and the Sangha, all the monks. She said a prayer. And the Buddha was giving teaching on the other place, which is 3 days away from that place. Buddha was giving teaching. And suddenly, Buddha could see, and even the monks, other monks, they could see like parasols, all positive, good omens. And the monks asked the Buddha, what's happening? Something said, what's happening? And the Buddha said, this little girl, this young girl, from 3 days apart from here, that girl is inviting all of us for lunch. And the Buddha said, all of you who have miracle power, you come with me. Right? So, now the people there, the young girl's in-laws, they were wondering, how's Buddha coming? Right? So then, from the sky, there was one monk coming, performing miracles, and the showering rain, thunderstorm, and the monk come. And then the in-laws, they were so surprised. Is this your Buddha? Right? She said, no, this is not my Buddha. Who is he? He is the Buddha's disciple known as Shariputra. So first Shariputra came. Then again more miracles came. More miracles happening. And again another monk came. So pacified. Just see him and your mind simply calms down. The monk came. Oh, this must be your teacher, Buddha. She said, no, this is Mokuliana. She knows everybody. Right? One by one, she knows, identifies everyone. Finally, Indra and Brahma, the kings of the god and goddesses, they were coming with the brooms from the sky. They were coming with the brooms to clear the road. Right? Oh, what is that? Indra and Brahma, they're coming down, right? And then, say, in the center, the Buddha came. Is this a teacher? Then she said, yes, this is my teacher, Buddha. You're getting it? All these miracles were performed. Yet, Arya Nagarjuna never praised the Buddha for having performed miracles. Arya Nagarjuna, because the miracles. Now, I share this story, you go, wow, that's amazing. You feel like crying. It's beautiful. Look at the faith of this young girl. The faith, respect, the faith of this girl to the Buddha. And the Buddha's affection, he could sense it from distance, and instructed all the monks, we have to go now. Right? It's amazing. But what do we get? Wow, that's it. Whereas the Buddha's teachings, ye dharma hetu prabhava, hetum tesham tathagata hevata, tesham chayo niruddha, evam vadimasham. These teachings you apply, real transformation happens within you. You become a Buddha. Rather than just saying wow to somebody else, you become a Buddha. So that teaching is the supreme of all. So, that teaching, the one who will give this teaching in the most effective way, that is your best of the Savior. Best of the Savior. So, that when you attain these three perfect qualities, perfect love, perfect knowledge and perfect power. You become the best of the teachers to benefit all sentient beings. Why these three qualities? First, perfect knowledge. Perfect knowledge. Let's say that you are a little girl or a little boy, and one day your father tells you that, hey, study well. If you study well, I'm always there to help you. And one day your exam is a week away, and the science exam, and you go to your father. Now you promise to help me. I need your help. I need you to teach me science. And the father said, I'm very sorry. I always failed in science when I was in school. So your father could not help you. Why your father could not help you? Why? He was lacking knowledge. So to guide, to save somebody, you should have the best of the knowledge. So perfect knowledge is important. And then your father said that, your father also felt very sorry and said, don't worry, our next door neighbor is the Nobel laureate in physics. Nobel laureate in physics. You ask that person, and you go there and ask, knock at the door, sir, please teach me science. And the sir said that, okay, you know that I'm a Nobel laureate in science, right? $5,000 per hour. $5,000 per hour. Rishi, is it okay? Not okay. Why not?
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. It's too expensive, right? So the daughter comes. You go to the father and says that he's asking for $5,000 for 1 hour. Again, even the professor who has the Nobel laureate has amazing knowledge. Even he could not help you. Why he could not help you? Because he's lacking. He's lacking knowledge. He's lacking affection. He's lacking love. When the love is missing, nothing will happen. Even if you have $100,000, but the beggars will not even get a single penny from you when the affection is missing. You're getting it? So, somebody to benefit you thoroughly, the person must be perfected in love and affection. Number 2. Then your father says, okay, don't worry. Although your mother is not a Nobel laureate in physics or science, but she was topper in science when she was in school. At least she can help you while you're in school. So your mother comes in the evening, and you jump to the mother, Mom, please teach me science. Mother, please don't come close to me. I have a diarrhea problem. Because she ate a stale food, and now she has a loose motion problem. Please don't come. If you touch me, the mere touch, it pains me. I just feel like vomiting, right? So, if your mother could not help you, why? Why? She's not having affection? Oh, affection is just unparalleled. She's not having knowledge? She has. What's missing? She's lacking the power. You getting it? She's lacking the power. So anybody who's endowed with these 3 perfect qualities is ever ready. When you're ready, he or she is ever ready to help you. So therefore, the analogy given is that although the God of the rain, listen, this is very important. When you become a Buddha, this is a benefit. You can benefit all the sentient beings simultaneously. The analogy given by Arimathea is that even if it's a metaphor, even though the God of rain showers rain to all the places equally, where there's a seed germinates. Where there's no seed, will not germinate anything. It will remain forever. Again, it will remain dry. No germination takes place. Which means that God of rain is a metaphor for the Buddha. And the rain is a metaphor for the deeds, the benefits the Buddha gives to everyone without any partiality. But where there's a seed from your side, if there's a seed, it germinates with the rain. Without the seed, rain is there, nothing will happen. So therefore, from our side, what is required? We require the seed. If the 100 seeds, all the 100 seeds will grow. Not that the rain has to attend to each of the seeds separately. All the 100 seeds will grow simultaneously. All the sentient beings will be they will be benefited simultaneously. If from the sentient being sides, you are ready. The Buddha, when you become a Buddha, you become ready at all times to benefit all the sentient beings simultaneously. So this is where, when you browse through the history of humanity, you see that 2,500 years ago, there was one prince by the name Siddhartha, and who said the same thing: I will take the responsibility for all demon sentient beings. And today I'm saying this. And what did he do? And he actually became Buddha by perfecting these three qualities. Oh, then I will also perfect these three qualities and become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Then altruism, next. Boddhicitta. Then altruism. How are I going to do this? I will take the responsibility by becoming Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings, by perfecting in these three qualities: perfect love, perfect knowledge, and perfect power. This is the Boddhicitta. You getting it? Good. Okay. I think I need another 15 minutes. So it can even go to 20 minutes, which means that your tea break can be shortened, and even the group discussion, don't worry too much, because this information is so important. Okay, so that finishes the second method. Which method? Method of equalizing self and others to generate bodhicitta. Next is the sevenfold cause and effect method. Okay, sevenfold cause effect method. This method requires some confidence in the law of rebirth. It involves some confidence in the law of rebirth, about reincarnation. That is required. Okay, so to quickly touch on this area, the 7 steps. 7 steps involved with the first method. 7 steps involved. 7 steps plus 1 preliminary. 7 steps plus 1 preliminary, total making it 8. So first, the preliminary. Preliminary is equanimity. Equanimity is the preliminary. Then the actual steps, there are 7 of them. The first actual step, the first one, remembering all beings as one's mother. Remembering all beings as one's mother. Number 1. Remember all beings as one's mother. Number 2. Remembering the kindness for all the mothers. Remembering the kindness for all the beings as your mothers. Number 3. Repaying their kindness. Repaying the kindness of all the mothers. Number 4. Seeing all the beings in the light of great affection. Seeing all the beings in the light of great affection. Number 4. Number 1. Remember all beings as one's mother, one's mothers. Number 2. Remembering their kindness. Remembering their kindness. Number 3. Repaying their kindness. Repaying their kindness. Number 4. Seeing all the beings in the light of great affection, or seeing all the beings with endearment. Seeing all the beings in the light of great affection. Number 5, great compassion. Great compassion. Number 6, altruism. Number 7, Boddhicitta. Okay, number 1. What's number 1? Remembering all beings as one's mothers. Number 2, remembering the kindness of all mothers. Number 3, repaying the kindness. Number 4, seeing all the beings in the light of great affection. Number 5, great compassion. Number 6, altruism. Number 7, Boddhicitta. Okay, so we have to do some of these steps, and then in the second class we'll try to finish this method. Then the third class, anything which is additional to be added, plus question answers. That's it. Okay. First, remembering all beings as one's mothers. So this involves, okay, preliminary equanimity. Equanimity has numerous meanings. So here in this context, equanimity is that your view of the beings, your view of oh, this is my near and dear ones, this is neutral, this is difficult person. We have these three different perceptions. There's a partiality there. So now you remove the partiality, that they're all equal. For example, the mother of this life, she's so kind. Okay, the neutral beings, oh, they are so. They're not kind as my mother. There's a partiality there. And you think of the neutral being, what about your past life? Your past life. This neutral being, of course, many times this neutral being was also my mother's. If that's the case, just it's a matter of time. That today, this is my mother, this is my father, this is my brother, sister, but in the past life, this neutral being was my father, was my mother, was my brother, sister. So from that point of view, this is more the same. And today, my mother, today my father, in the past life, was my neutral beings. So it's a matter of time. So if you look at in totality, we see that these two are equally compassionate and equally neutral. Likewise, the difficult people, the third one, difficult. Yes, today this person is a very difficult person, but in the past life, this person was so many times my mother, my father, my brother, sisters, so many times neutral beings. So from that point of view, all these three are same. There's not that I should have a special affinity to one side, but it doesn't mean that some people say that when I practice this, my compassion decreases, my love and affection towards the mother decreases. That should not happen. That should not happen. In fact, what is the love that you feel towards a mother, towards a father, and of course, the complicated love meaning, which is purely business transaction love, right? Which is purely selfish love, right? So for example, like the online matching, online dating, this purely selfish love. You're getting it? So that is a different story. Keep that aside. Keep that aside. Otherwise, say the mother's love towards the child, father's love towards the child, brother, sister, brother, sister. It's amazing what I shared about the two brothers. Both are students, and the elder brother coming every Sunday. This affection is amazing, and the mother's love is amazing. You're getting it? So there, when you think of that, then we see that if this is how, considering the previous lives, then we're all just same. So the love that you feel towards your mother, don't shrink it, expand it. Expand it to your neutral beings. Expand it to the difficult people. Don't shrink. Don't compromise your love for your mom. This is an amazing example. If you have not felt that love, for example, like people like here, our young man, the youngest one, Rishi, the love that he feels towards a mother, So this love is so precious, because he has this, he knows what it is, he has experienced what it is like. So he can extend to other beings, expand it, don't shrink. Expand it. Then it becomes unconditional love. Initially, your love towards mother may become conditional, because that she took care of me, therefore I love you. That is conditional. When expanded to neutral beings, to the different people, to all the beings, then it becomes unconditional. Unconditional meaning that I love everyone without any condition. That's meaning unconditional love initially as the role model, as the example. From there you expand it, then it becomes unconditional. Whereas if you don't have this example, initial love that you feel towards a mother, towards your father, towards your teacher, towards your brother, sister, whatever, if you don't have this, the experience as the example, then you have no idea what it is like to expand it. It will not make much sense to you. So this is how you practice equanimity. So my mom, okay, in the past, she had been my, the neutral beings, different people, the neutral beings in the past. My mother, my different people, but different person in the past. My mother, neutral beings. So net, overall speaking, they're all same. If I love, I should love all. If I dislike, I should dislike all. They're all same from that point of view. This is known as the equanimity, maintaining the equal, the affinity towards all the three categories. This is the preliminary. It is not a part of the actual practice. It's a preliminary, but it's required. You say you're building the castle of Buddhahood. But for that matter, if the land is uneven, some very high, some very average, some very low, first you have to cut high and fill that up, fill the what is very low and make it even. That's equanimity. That's the first preliminary. What's next? Yes.
Geshe-la, just a quick question. In this step, can we also use the temporal aspect of present life, interchangeability of, say, for example, sometimes a very near and dear becomes very enemy?
Perfect. This is, I would say that this would be very helpful. So what Professor Tinzu is saying is very helpful in ways that within a single lifetime, we talk about the rebirth, we talk about the earlier lives. Within the single lifetime, we see that somebody who's so loving and caring, first part of life, next half of life can become the deadliest of your enemy. How many agree with me in a sense? It happens. Sometimes the deadliest of the enemy, second half of your life, the person becomes the greatest of your friends. Right? Okay. Gabor and Chelsea, they're laughing. Say there must be something going there. Right? That's very true. Right? Okay. Okay. So what I'm saying that is very true. Now the major question that you are struck with is, okay, this take for granted there's rebirth. How do we know that there's rebirth? This question. You're getting it? I'm going to quickly touch on this part. How do we know that there's rebirth? Okay. It can be a little interesting that I was 20 years old, and I was in the Institute of Buddhist Dialectics, and my teacher, who was also the principal of the institute, Venerable Geshe, Professor Roger, you met him? No? Pamela? No? Okay. Yes. Bandela, he was very young. He was, I think, 14 or 15. He was 14, 15 years old then. So he met my teacher many times. And my teacher, he did not have any modern education. But he's a brilliant philosopher, brilliant psychologist, a brilliant logician, very open-minded, extremely courageous to walk the Boddhicitta path. And he established 2 institutions. Sometimes I feel so embarrassed. That my teacher, he did not have any modern education. He established 2 institutions. Now, the service that these 2 institutions rendered is just spreading everywhere. Whereas in my case, I had all these opportunities. I had the modern education, access to the world, but I could not even establish one institution. What a shame. What an embarrassment to his teacher. Teacher established 2 institutions without any modern education, without any easy access to the outside world. And his student, could not do that. It's very... Okay, so... why was I saying this? Oh, rebirth, yes. So my teacher, no modern education, but his mind is so open-minded. So once there was one American lady doctor, and my teacher sensed that she could give a brilliant talk on neuroscience. So my teacher invited her to give a talk to his students about 100 monks. And my teacher said, Dorji, come, you should translate to all the monks. So because I came from the school with the English background, and then so as a 20 years old boy, I translated. I just did my best that to convey the most, whatever, to the best of my ability to convey whatever on this the lady doctor said to the monks. So I was very attentive, and in a way I was blown away by her talk, blown away. That the neuroscience that I learned, which basic the functions of the brain, the structures of the brain, which I learned in school, it was so basic. Cerebrum, cortex, and then the pituitary gland, and so forth. Just very basic thing. And what she was saying, just amazing. It just blew me away. That you speak the language. This language is related to this part of the brain. If this part of the brain is damaged, your language is gone. And you are seeing these colors because this part of the brain. And you have this memory is because of this part of the brain. And you have these emotions of sadness, anger, attachment, so forth. This is because of the amygdala, this part of the brain. And this young boy was just blown away. And then that night, I could not have sleep. Yeah. Professor Roger. Professor Roger, if you want a juice, there's also juice here. Are you sure? Okay. And that night I did not sleep because if this is how the brain works, where's the mind? This was a question to me. And since my young age, like age 14, 15, there's a great degree of skepticism in the mind. Skepticism not in a bad sense. Said the inquisitive mind, questioning mind, not accepting things blindly, and not rejecting easily also. So that was this young boy's mindset. And then that time when this lady gave this talk, I was just blown away. If this is how the brain works, where is mind? This was my major question. And then I told myself that, okay, Dorji, don't start with the belief that there's a mind different from the brain. Thus far, you have a belief that what the Buddha taught is correct, what the Buddhism taught is correct. This is your belief. Don't start with this belief. Start with the clean slate. This is what came to my mind. Then, say, in school, before I joined the Institute of Buddhist Dialectics, I was thinking of becoming a physicist. I was so fond of physics and mathematics. And then after class 12, after high school, then I joined the Institute of Buddhist Dialectics, changed the course from science to Buddhist philosophy. And why join Buddhist philosophy? Thinking that there's rebirth. There's rebirth. So, say, going into science stream, I'm not preparing myself for the next rebirth. So I have to prepare for the next rebirth. Now, where's rebirth? Coming to the monastery, I come to know that it's just the brain. Where's the mind? If there's no mind, where's the rebirth? Why I become a monk? Why I'm in the monastery? Why should I be in the monastery? Right? Oh, what do you do now? All right? I already quit joining the regular college. Okay. Then I told myself, don't worry, Dorji. Don't worry. Don't say rebirth does not exist. Don't say rebirth exists. Don't accept, don't reject. Start fresh with a clean slate. And so luckily, I was in the monastery which gives us education on logic, philosophy, and psychology. I was so fortunate. And particularly within the psychology, there's the book, Pramanavartika, which Professor Roger translated. That text, it has Professor Roger translated chapter 2, right? Chapter 2. It has total 4 chapters. And particularly chapter 2, which Professor Roger translated, this is about the rebirth. It's purely about rebirth. And there is no mention of sharing stories. Because, rebirth is there because somebody remembered the past life. These are stories. Stories can be correct, may not be correct. Can be convinced for some people, may not be convinced for others. But chapter 2 of Pramanavartika by Acharya Dharmakirti, there is purely logically established. Logically established. And if you really want to study this, to know what's the relationship between the brain and mind, for this, it's not just read the book and you'll get it. No, it is like quantum physics. Quantum physics, you just read it and you'll not get it. Read it, study with the living teacher, Niels Bohr, and the Heisenberg, and so forth, with these, like the teachers who can actually teach that. And then you do the derivations, do all these things. And then go to the lab. All combined together, and gradually your concept of the quantum physics will keep growing. Otherwise, just reading books will not help. You will not get it. Likewise, Pramanavartika chapter 2. You can read it, study with the living teacher, and then learn how to observe your mind, how the mind works, and what neuroscientist explains, how the brain works. You learn that also, the neuroscience perspective of the brain, workings of the brain. You learn how the mind works through your own observation, Buddhist psychology, learn all these things, and then keep observing it. You're getting it? And then see to the correlation in a very objective way. Don't impose your belief. Don't impose your belief that I'm a Buddhist, the Buddha said, like, never do that. Do it very objective. So one time, I think it was in Japan, His Holiness the Dalai was giving teaching, and I was translating for His Holiness. But since that, the audience, the majority of the audience is the Japanese. So His Holiness spoke in English directly, and the Japanese translator was translating, and I was sitting there for backup, and I was making a note. So once in a while I was reading some, and His Holiness noticed that. Then when the teaching finished, His Holiness asked, Damdul, what were you writing? His Holiness called me Damdul. Damdul, what are we writing? Then I said, I make them notes about the brain-mind relationship. Whatever His Holiness talks, in the talk, any point that His Holiness touches, brain-mind relationship, I note them down. Okay. So this is one part. Now the next part is to talk about rebirth. What is important is that, okay, let's see. Let's take step by step. So don't say rebirth exists. Don't say rebirth don't exist. Keep it very neutral. Start from clean slate. With a clean slate, if there's rebirth, doesn't mean that there is rebirth. If there is rebirth, then it's very clear that what you have is you have the body and the mind. Your body doesn't travel to the next birth. That's for sure. Your body is buried, cremated, or whatever. Your body is left behind. You agree? Raise hands. If there is a rebirth, your body will not travel. Your mind should travel. If the mind travels, your brain is a part of the body. Brain will be cremated. The brain and mind, these two should be distinct entities. Now you have already learned entities and isolates. You getting it? So if the mind travels to the next life, the mind and the brain, these two should be two distinct entities. If these two one entity, it becomes like the book and the color of the book, the flower and the color of the flower. One entity, different isolates. When you burn the flower, the color of the flower also burns. So that the two are, if there's rebirth, then there should be it is only the mind that travels to the next life, not the body. And if the mind travels, then the mind and the brain should be two distinct entities, cannot be one entity. Because if this is one entity, when you burn the brain, cremate the brain, the mind is also gone. Like when you burn the flower, the color of the flower also is burned. So these should be two distinct entities. How do we know that these two are two distinct entities? This is the next question. You're getting it? How do we know that these two are two distinct entities, the brain and the mind? If you're able to establish that the brain and mind, these two are two distinct entities, then the rebirth is established. That's very easy. Okay. So, for that matter, let's say that the Eric Kandel, Professor Eric Kandel, who is a Nobel laureate in physiology, 2004 Nobel laureate. So what he said in his book, In Search of Memory, because I'm so interested in this neuroscience, the Professor Paul Ekman, again, who was the world-renowned psychologist, Professor Paul Ekman, in fact, he is somebody who is the pioneer of the microfacial expression reading. Let me repeat it. Professor Paul Ekman, he's a pioneer of the microfacial expression reading science. He's a pioneer of that. So in other words, what his job is, just study the face of the person. And from the face of the person, he could identify macro-facial expressions, which ordinary people cannot notice. He could identify the microfacial expressions. From there, he could infer what's going in your mind. And I was with him for 5 days in his house to work on His Holiness's book, Emotional Awareness, the book by His Holiness, co-authored by Professor Paul Ekman, Emotional Awareness, and to check that His Holiness's voice is well reflected, not reflected in a distorted way. I was sent there to work with Professor Paul Ekman for 5 days, was working there. Then during those 5 days, I asked him, since that this is your expertise to look at the face and see the microfacial expressions, to know the person's mind, and the people who come close to, when they come to know you, are they not afraid of you? He said, yes, that's very true. People are afraid when they know that I am the one who is on this. People hide their face saying that, don't look at me. You getting it? Okay. So the point is that what I'm saying is that the mind and the brain relationship, where the mind and brain, this should be seen as the two distinct entities. But how? How do we know these two are two distinct entities? Okay, so this is something which I would say Pramana Vartika chapter 2. And don't expect that you get some points, point A, B, C, T, and then wow, this rebirth. No. Once you are convinced that these two are distinct entities, then the rebirth is easy. It's almost established. How? Say, if the brain and mind, these two are, if the brain and mind, these two are established as two distinct entities, you have to establish it first. If you want to establish, established as two distinct entities, then I remember, I must have been in my 20s. His Holiness, in one public teaching in Dharamsala, he mentioned this, that the body made of cells made of chromosomes and so forth, which made of molecules, made of atoms. And these atoms, are they in the form of atoms or in the form of energy? They came from 15 billion years ago. This is a reality. 15 billion years ago, which means that for your atoms, for material things, there's no creation, there's no annihilation. You're getting it? There's no destruction, there's no creation of the material things. It can be, at the most, be in the form converted into energy. That's it. It will never disappear completely. In other words, the continuum, this is little tiny go. This is really technical. Continuum of the material things. Continuum of the material things, whether in the form of matter or in the form of energy, the continuum is beginningless. Continuum is endless. There's no destruction and no creation of the matter in terms of matter or the energy. This is basic science. This is physics. Okay. Now His Holiness is saying that from this logic, from this, if you truly understand it fully, what the science is saying, that the matter is not created nor destroyed in the form of energy or the physical matter. If this you are convinced, you say that anything that exists independently, for example, the matter and the counterpart of the matter is the mind. If the mind exists as a distinct entity, then these two exist in parallel. So just as matter, there's no beginning, there's no end. The mind also has no beginning, there's no end. Because there's no beginning, there's no end, you can trace the same mind, your mind, back. And say, your mind, the first moment, your mind, the moment you are delivered from the mother's womb, you have that mind. That mind, because it has no it's not beginning. Again, so if there's no beginning, what's the previous one? In the mother's womb. Mother's womb also is not a beginning. What's the previous one? The first conception, first mode of conception in the mother's womb. Even that is not a beginning, there's another one before that, your previous life. And then your mind, because there's no destruction of the mind. When we die, the last moment before you die, that mind, what's the next moment? You die, mind disappears. No, there's no destruction of the mind. Just as though there's no destruction to the matter, there's no destruction of the mind. It continues. That is your next life. So once you establish the mind and body as two distinct entities, then you establish that these two are, the rebirth is easy. Okay, now the next question is, how do we see these two things as distinct entities? So one point I'd like to share with you is that the computers, however sophisticated computer is, it requires external operator, somebody to operate on this. Whereas our brain is also a computer in the flesh. It's a human flesh, is a computer. But that computer does not require somebody to operate on this. This is reality. But it's external computers, they are more sophisticated than a brain. But that computer requires somebody external to operate on this. So why? What's the difference? We have to think very seriously. You will not get any answer till you get the conviction that with the internal, the brain as a computer, there's a mind which is operating on it. But with the external computer, since there's no mind in it, we require external operator to operate on this. So what operates on this, what operates and operated, these two should be two distinct entities. These two should be two distinct entities. So these are they're more reflections. In fact, they say, I'm supposed to be coming up with this book on this topic, the brain-mind relationship. So there are several points which I've been contemplating for the last many years, almost like 25 years. I've been constantly contemplating this because this is a very important area which requires to be dealt with. So thus far, the best book on rebirth, is Acharya Dharmakirti's text from Manavartika chapter 2. This is the best book. But don't expect that you read it, you understand it. It is like quantum physics. You have to study this, and then things will become clearer, and it involves many factors. Like you observe what the mind is. You have to know what the mind is. You have the experiential. You should have experience what the mind is. Not just intellectual understanding, experience what the mind is. And then, so when I see that, okay, this flower in this pen and flower, these two are not one. These two are not, because this flower is very tender, this pen is very hard. These two are very different. You're getting it, and it was different. Likewise, the mind, very different entity which is not visible, which does not have color, which does not have shape, and yet you can experience that. Physical brain is visible. It's visible. We can see that. Okay. And so from this experience, you can see that the brain and the mind are two distinct entities. And the another point that I like to make here is that say, if I tell you that think of your mother, think of yourself as a little boy or a little girl, age 1 or 2, and your mother holding you in her arms. Think of that. And then I tell a neuroscientist to check what's going in his brain or in your brain. And then you put in a scan, and the neuroscientist can see what's going in your brain. The waves, neurotransmitters, what kind of neurotransmitters are being transmitted, and the brain waves are seen. But if I ask what's going in her mind or in his mind, neuroscientists will have nothing to say. You getting it? Will have nothing to say. So simply because today, neuroscience, there's no mind, it's just a brain. No, neuroscience is not at all sophisticatedly developed yet. In comparison, within 100 years, it has developed a lot. But neuroscience, they don't know what's going in your mind. They see your brain waves. Brain waves don't tell you anything. They don't know what's going in your mind. So you see that you don't know what's going in your brain, but you know what's going in your mind. I'm thinking of my mother. I think of myself as 2-year-old girl, 2-year-old boy. My mother holding me in her arms. I know that. But I don't know what's going in my brain. I don't see what's going in my brain. But I do vividly experience what I'm thinking. The neuroscientist could see what's going in your brain. Brain waves, neurotransmitters. He could see that. But he could not see what's going in your mind. You're getting it? Now look, the distinction is that what you had the first-hand experience, which neuroscientists cannot see, that is your mind. Which the neuroscientists can see, which you cannot see, that is your brain. These are not identical. You're getting it? This empirically can be spoken of. In fact, it was in one university. I'm not going to mention the university. It was in a university, a Buddhist studies department, not in India. And in that is a very prestigious university. At the university, the Buddhist studies department HOD, so I went to meet him. And then he explained to me about that department, and he said, in this department, we also do neuroscience research. In the Buddhist Studies department, they do neuroscience research about the brain-mind relationship. Then I said that would be good. First of all, so make sure that the people who do the research, the students, they know what the mind is, how the mind is different from the brain. To my amazement, HOD of the Buddhist Studies department said that, no, this is a very difficult topic. It's a very abstract. We cannot explain how the mind is different from the brain. He said it. I was literally shocked. Oh, how can you be a Buddhist Studies department HOD if you yourself don't have the basic knowledge how the mind and brain, these two are different? Then if you don't know the basic difference, then your belief in the rebirth is missing. If your belief in rebirth is missing, Buddhism is missing. Buddhist concept of the very sophisticated enlightenment and so forth, they all rest on the conviction that there's a rebirth. Rebirth is grounded on the conviction that there's a mind which is different from the brain. How can that be possible? So then I explained to him how to distinguish the brain and the mind first. Then he did not comment at all. He just remained silent. And then when we finished the talk, then two of us escorted me out. On the way, he said that it's the first time that I'm hearing in my life the distinction between the brain and the mind. You getting it? It's the first time that I'm hearing the distinction between the mind in my life. Is the HOD of that university, HOD of the Buddhist Studies Department of that university. You getting it? So these are things that if you are really interested about. So now for me, I would say that earlier in my 30s, I was really struggling how the brain and mind are different, how this rebirth and so forth. Now many factors combining together, rebirth is pretty easy. Rebirth is pretty easy, but that one requires numerous exposures. Neuroscience, Pramana Varga chapter 2. And then observe your mind. You have to have the experience of what the mind is like, which is not visible, and you have to experience that. And then on that basis, how the mind works, gross mind, subtle mind. You have to observe that. And then observe others' minds. Say, when Leon is sitting like this, what is he thinking? Right? Observe that. And when he's smiling, what's going in his mind? Just observe that. So from there, all these factors come together, then rebirth is not a difficult problem. You can understand it. You can be convinced. You can easily be convinced. But it requires all these factors together. It's not like you read one book and you'll get it. It requires all these factors come together. Okay, we'll stop here. Om Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhisvaha Om Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhisvaha Om Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhisvaha. Okay, before we break for tea break, I'd like to quickly share one anecdote. It was in Nigeria. His Holiness's visit to Nigeria, and I was there. And the last day when we were there, when His Holiness were heading to the airport, now leaving Nigeria, I was taking care of the passport, visa, the bags, all these things. So they sent, the Nigerian government, they sent a policeman with me to escort me to the airport. Then on the way, and they from the hotel to airport is like 1 hour distance. And on the way, he was in a civil dress, and he asked, please tell me something about Buddhism. So now we have 1 hour together. Although he's a policeman, he was asking me, please tell me something about Buddhism. And then I thought about Buddhahood, Nirvana, cutting attachment, and so forth. He was not interested. He was not showing any interest. And suddenly the rebirth concept came. And he was so interested. He said, tell me more. I asked, why are you interested in this? I asked him, why are you interested in this part? He said that in Nigeria, there are so many little boys and girls, young children, so many young children who talk about their past lives. And yet, if you look at the literature that we have, Christian Bibles or Quran, two of which are the predominant religions in our country, you don't find this concept in these two books, Bible and Quran. You don't find this reincarnation. But undeniably, we cannot deny this reality, that these small children, they talk about the rebirth, their former life. And then when the parents, they took them to the place the child identifies, they go there, everything tallies. No explanation in this country. This is what he said. There's no explanation in this country. But this is undeniably seen, so common in the various places. So, this is why I'm looking for the explanation. Where you find such explanation about the rebirth. This was why he was interested. He asked this question to me. And there was one little girl who must be age 6 in the Tibetan settlement. And while she was playing, and she was with another cousin who must be about like 10 years older. This little girl, while playing, she said that, I have a wife. The girl said, I have a wife. And the elder girl was shocked. Hey, you're a girl. How do you have a wife? She says, yes, I have a wife. And the elder girl was literally like shocked, panicked. She rushed into the house and told the little girl's father and mother that this girl is saying like this. And this girl remained so confident, yes, I have a wife. And then the father brought the girl, 6 years old, kept there and asked her more questions. If your wife, you have children? She said, yes. How many children do you have? She said, 6. I have 6 children. And then they asked, where's your wife? She said, in the other village. She said, in the other village. Then father, through the administration, was checking, is there a family where the father died, left with the wife, with his 6 children. And again she was double checked. She said, I have 5 children. Early she said, I have 6 children. And later she said, I have 5 children. So double checked, there was a family where the father died and the wife was left with 6 children. Of the 6 children, 5 were the children of that father who died. One was the child from another husband, right? When she said 6, which means including the one from other husband. And 5 means her own children. These are real stories, but these are all stories. You don't believe in this. The one thing that we really need to, if you are interested in this, these stories will be helpful, but don't take them too seriously as the reason to prove. No, this will help you, but you should base on the factual reasons, which holds true across the eons. Mind-brain relationship. That's a fact which anybody, you explain it, the person understands it, you don't have to believe in a story. Okay, so we have another 13 minutes for tea break. Okay, let's say a half an hour break. It is 11:17. Now we come back at 11:47. Okay, good.